Hey guys, it's Matt. Was watching a Danny Mineley video, and I've never had my inner knowing spidey sense go off like it did during this video. He mentioned the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but to make a point about when something is shown to us in a certain way, that there could be a problem, or I guess it even could be related to Hegelian dialectic. But he kind of coined the phrase, it's a leaning tower of Pisa. His video is not about architecture, but it's when it's meant to be that way. He says, yeah, Leaning Tower of Pisa was probably meant to be built that way. And every spidey sense immediately went, yeah, that I know nothing about it. I've never been there. I had done no research. Everything screamed out, yeah, it was built that way. And of course, you know, just spending an hour looking at different things, looking at the 4K HD video. I'll show you some stills. I'll protect this guy's copyrighted work. Somebody went out there and filmed a 4K. But I don't think it's just, yeah, Matt, when you think something, the reality will show you and give you what you want to confirm your belief. You just, wanted to believe immediately when you heard Danny say that the Leaning Tower of Pisa was constructed this way on purpose. I don't think so. I mean, I think we can differentiate. I think you'll see, and I know nothing. I know nothing about architecture. I haven't done any real research on this. I just get the sense that I went, yeah, that's exactly right, and see what you think. Again, what does your inner knowing tell you? That would tell you a whole lot more than if you were led into the rare books room in the Vatican and they showed you the original design and plans and blueprints from 1100. And you analyze them. And I think inner knowing's more powerful than that. Now, that's a cop-out because that can be done easily. Spending 4 days in the Vatican Library looking at the plans from 1100, that would take a lot of work. Oh, say what you want. I think the inner knowing wins every time. So, but guys, just to get a laugh, I'm not going to turn this into what the last video was, but when you search it on Google, at least for me, the second result, it anticipates what you want to search for. And underneath the Leaning Tower of Pisa, Google says you might be interested in these too. The Leaning Tower of Pizza, of pizza. Now this means probably millions of people, millions of people over every year search for the Leaning Tower of Pizza. And the Pizza, and with the pepperoni, and what they expect, that they think that's what it is. So that nothing surprises us anymore, does it? So let's go over to we'll look at the Wikipedia in a second, but we'll go to this walking tour here, guys. The Matrix 4. No comments on it yet. I fell asleep. I fell asleep during it. There were some interesting parts, some parts I was really disappointed with in the beginning. I'm holding out, I'm not going to say anything until I finish it. I went to bed pretty early last night, like 9:45. So I'll watch it today, finish it, go back and review some parts, report back hopefully tomorrow on Matrix 4. Now, before we go over to the walking tour, I love how this is so obnoxious. We'll just make fun of Wikipedia one more time. I'd say every other time now that I search, hi, this isn't the first time we've interrupted your search recently, but 98% of our readers don't give. Those bastards. We ask you humbly, don't scroll away. Screw you. I'm scrolling away. Give. They want you to give. It is the most system supported tool in the world. There's no possible way in the known universe it could ever, what defines reality for most of the world is going to go out of business because they don't have the funding. They'll generate billions, the Fed would, or whoever creates it on the supercomputer. But people actually give. I mean, this is scary. They don't even probably want to take, it has all the funding it could ever need, but they have to show this because it provides to the idiot down your cul-de-sac, it provides legitimacy. Oh, there's just struggling people trying to do their best, Matt, like Snopes. Yeah. Please don't scroll away. I'm scrolling away, you sons of bitches. Leaning Tower of Pizza. Let's just call it Leaning Tower of Pizza. And then this might get banned if I use the word Bill Gates, the last word in his last name, associate that too close to pizza. The video will be banned. Okay, now guys, here's this. Let's just before I'm going to get into this whole. When I look at this stuff, yeah, the whole reality appears to be a fake facade. I'm going to go all the way in this video. It screams fake facade to me. But let's just look at, before we jump around here and look at, the walking tour. Just seems to be so set up for tourists. It just doesn't feel right. I'm sorry. But let's go over here and look at the Wikipedia nonsense very quickly. Leaning Tower of Pisa, blah, 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 is in Campanile, Fragile, I don't know, Campanile, freestanding bell tower. The point is, it had started to lean. Let's go to the basics. 14,500 tons, 14,500 tons, or 16,000 short tons. What the hell is that? 296 or 294 steps. What? The tower has 296 or 294 steps? Well, whoever counted it the first time, go back out and get it right. They don't know. So it's one or the other. The 7th floor has 2 fewer steps on the north-facing staircase. Who cares? Okay. The tower began construction in the 12th century. That's 1100 and some to you and me and your dog. The 12th century, all right? Due to soft ground, which could not properly support the structure's weight. And it worsened throughout the completion of construction in the 14th century. That's 13-something to you, me, and your dog. By the 1990s, the tilt had reached 5.5 degrees. It's amazing it doesn't just say it hasn't reached 6.66 degrees, but sometimes they have to be subtle. The structure was stabilized by remedial work between 1993 and 2001, which reduced the tilt. I think 60 Minutes covered it. I remember back in the 90s, and they showed how they hoisted cables. No, my inner knowing kind of screams out what Danny mentioned. It was meant to be that way, and possibly the entire reality when it comes to these megalithic structures and things like this is part of the reality facade.Maybe. We'll see. We'll go down that insane asylum route today. But, guys, I don't want to get into too much. Let's just look a couple more details here. Construction occurred in 3 stages over 199 years. Okay? On January 1172, Donna Berta di Bernardo. Boy, that's a mouthful to bring home to mother. Blah, blah. Now, basically, I don't know. Here it is. The tower began to sink after construction had progressed to the 2nd floor in 1178. Now, Britannica said something like it was really showing the lean by the time they got to the 3rd and 4th floor. Okay, and it says the tower began to sink after the construction had just reached the 2nd floor in 1178. This was due to a mere 3-meter foundation, and we've heard, how many times have we heard this story? In various places, weak, unstable subsoil. Wikipedia gives me a link to subsoil here in a pop-up in case I have no idea what that is. Now, here's where starts to break down. A few people listening to this are going, yeah, what's the problem? What's the problem? There's a lot of problems. Here's the problem. Let's say when something is constructed like this, and I didn't do that much research, guys, but typically the peasants don't put their change together and start building something like this. It's done for a pope, or it's done for a bishop, or a really powerful cardinal, or a king, or a earl, or somebody important, right? Okay. Now, just from what you've observed, do those people have a lot of ego, or no? Like, they just don't care about their presentation. They don't care what people think. The whole grounds seem very nice. It seems like a constructed a facade type animal farm for sheep, but we'll get into that later. We'll say they have a lot of ego. So what's going to happen when you're the builder and architect? How's it going, Giovanni? I should do the accent like the Maurizio in the Titanic, that offensive accent. But I'm not going to do it. I can only do it mimicking the guy from the Titanic. If I do it, I don't need a visit from the five families. I'm going to leave the imitations alone. Okay. The king comes out. How's it going? Well, we're only on the second floor, but it's leaning off to the side. So the king says, or whoever this was built for, I didn't do any research on this. I don't care to. The cardinal, whoever, it was built for somebody important. You don't just build this thing. It requires some funding, at least as the story we're told. If it's just a facade in the reality itself that was constructed as part of this matrix, well, that's something different. We'll maybe talk about that later. But let's just assume everything's real. So the king would say, I'm not an architect, but see, as it goes higher as a relatively thin tower when viewed from afar, it's going to look all off to the side. Well, yes, it is, king. Yes, it is, king. But should we continue? Well, when it's done, it'll lean. It'll embarrass the shit out of me and my family. It'll look like shit. The other kings and earls and queens and other religious leaders will come in and laugh. Like, yeah, look what it would be it would be an embarrassment. They would have destroyed it after the second floor, or they would have crumbled it and start over. Is there any way in the world it would have been allowed to continue, in your opinion? It would be an embarrassment. See, I had no idea. I thought the thing was built. Again, we live in a very fluid reality, guys. Who knows, right? I thought the thing was built and whatever. Say I even knew it was 1100 and something, and it was fine for 200-300 years, and whoever had it built was all proud of it and showed it off to the other kings and earls of Sandwich, and then it starts to lean because of the over hundreds of years it starts to lean, and like the new king or the new leader's like, well, it was good at one point. What are we going to do? It's not my fault. It's not. But if it happened right off the bat, it would be an embarrassment from the start. It would have been torn down. There's no way. No way. Sorry. All right, I guess that point is, I've made my point on that. We ask you humbly, don't scroll away. Screw you. All right, over here. Now, let's just continue on the architecture, and then we'll get into the whole reality being a potential facade, like a fish tank for something. Who knows? Okay, here's the base of it. Here's the base of it. Now, I mean, I appreciate these walking tours. They're incredible. Anybody that hasn't done these walking tours on a good monitor with good internet access, they're incredible. You don't have to visit anything. You can go see the Great Pyramid. Just do the 4K walking tour. It's a lot cheaper. You don't have to fly for 18 hours with a mask on. They're really impressive, guys. You can go do Venice, and Red Square is amazing. The 4K walking tour. Anyway, you get here, the whole thing is basically stone or what their equivalent of concrete would be, a marble, those sorts of materials. Now, I'm no master builder. I've poured some cement in my backyard. It always ends up cracking. I poured a block of cement to put something on, and I didn't have it cured exactly right, and it was a little tiny block. One thing, it started to crack. And, okay, you have to keep it wet. Okay, I know these guys know what they're doing. But how many thousands of tons leaning off to the side and a product or building material of, I don't know, granite, marble, stones, some sort of masonry, cement? There's no way unless it was meant to be this way, guys. We know, assuming real people got out hammers and chisels and you don't buy some of my philosophies on how this stuff got there. And I don't put all my chips at the roulette table on those philosophies. I just keep them on the table because nothing surprises me anymore. But let's just say you're a believer that it's just real guys with hammers and chisels and ancient techniques that they don't share with us, or even way out techniques, just things that would boggle the mind that they have from the Library of Alexandria that they don't share with us. Okay. So, if anything were real and real people build it, there's no way all the weight and everything could have been supported with this sort of material at the bottom unless it was built this way. Now, if you're a believer that the creeps of this world do have master building techniques that are way beyond anything we could imagine, then of course, like, there are these megalithic sites all over the world that cannot be explained. Cannot be explained. The people that go out to see them say there's just no way people with ropes and hammers or whatever could build this stuff. And there's hundreds of these, or thousands, all over the world. So they, they know. Let's just go with it. They know how to build. There's no way it would have been allowed if it was leaning from the second floor. If it was a natural lean, all this material would have cracked. It just would have. Now, Matt, there, it has cracked. Did you do hundreds of hours of research? Look at all the different repairs over the years. There would have been a major issue. I mean, a major issue. I'm just telling you, I didn't do a lot of tons of research, but when Danny mentioned it, I went, yeah, it was meant to be this way. And if somebody's saying, well, there's no known building technique where you could actually build it this way, it would have been impossible. Well, go to the Great Pyramid, go to the hundreds of other megalithic sites, go to the cathedral at Cologne, where there's no possible way it should have been able to be built by the materials that are known to us in 1400 or something, 1500, impossible. So it was meant to be this way. And then you get into bigger issues like, okay, why? Is the entire reality some sort of facade for sheeple? And it's the same. You can do the walking tours. It's the same tour. They're all the same tourist traps. I don't even know where I'm going with this last point, guys. But let's just start from the beginning here. They're all the same. I've been to a few sites. I'm over 50 years old and visited a few places in my life. And I've done a lot of these walking tours, and it's all like the same theme. Is this like the bread and circuses of this reality? There's always junk merchandise to buy. Well, Matt, of course the junk merchandisers are going to set up outside where they know the tourists are coming. That doesn't prove anything. Okay, I hear you. It doesn't. But it's like, I don't know even how to get this out. It's the same script every time. The junk, just if you think I'm going, wait, I shouldn't be doing this on the fly. These way out theories really should be refined or come off like a total idiot crazy man. But junk merchandisers, before you get into the main area, hey, buy my crap, and you gotta they're like climbing up your leg as you try to get to the site, get to the Leaning Tower of Pizza. It's like Red Square all over again. You walk right through, and then, oh boy, the people that spent their whole life savings going over to see. And I heard this thing is like it's not close to anything else. Like, you have to go out of your way, I think, to see the Leaning Tower of Pizza the Hut. You have to go out of your way. And it's a nice little facade reality is constructed for the sheeple, as they're probably transported on their holodecks to a whole new planet to live on, like in Star Trek. Is that what happened on 9? Well, I can't even say the number. So then you get into, it's just like Red Square all over again. You get into people coming and going and snapping pictures, and Asians in masks, and you get close to it, and it's like, oh, look, that. The first time old Grandpa Joe sees it, he stops, and a tear comes to his eye. Oh, oh my gosh, there it is. I can't believe we're in its presence. It's also, in my opinion, this tower has been built up, the fame of it has been built up unnaturally. If you're under 40, you have a different set of experiences, but those over 40 through age, say 65, 70, like if you're in a classroom and somebody says, there's a whole cathedral here in front of the Leaning Tower. Someone says, name 4 architectural sites overseas or in Europe. You just call out, Notre Dame, you'd call out, Leaning Tower of Pizza. It is one of the most famous in the world, like presented to us in school or just as you go through life in the 70s and 80s. And like, there's nothing to, it's really, compared to the other megalithic sites around the world, it's nothing. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's a joke compared to like the Cathedral of Cologne. So you think, well, why was this Leaning Tower of Pizza and Pizza the Hut so famous to us growing up? It would be the top 3 or 5 things you'd call out when it's really, now its fame is waned today. There's other things, but I'm telling you, if you're over age 40, you know what I'm talking about. It was that famous. And it's like, well, that's unnatural. Why? Just because it's a little bit of a leaning tower? Also, guys, if you go to the Wikipedia, I mean, this doesn't make sense. We ask you humbly, don't scroll away. Oh, look, you can close it. I thought it was just always in your face. That's nice. It talks about, there was no major repair until 1990 something. So let me get this straight. It was, and I think I remember the 60 Minutes, as I mentioned. It's so urgent to get the 60 Minutes presented, or whatever that news program was. There was a program called 2020 and all that. We have to get the cables and this work, and this guy's coming in to do this and all this excavating, and it's so dire. And so the thing can survive from 1100 and with no issue. There's earthquakes all over the place in Italy, right? It has no issues at all. But in 1990, it gets dire, and they have to do all this work to it. I think if it was that close to going over as they presented it, guys, it would have gone over like in 1450 or 1520 or 1600, or, so in other words, if it got to 1990, by definition, it wasn't that dire. Okay? But I'm just saying that's the way they presented it. It's not like we should firm it up just to be safe. And no, it wasn't presented like that at all. It's like a race against time to save the Leaning Tower of Pizza. But it survived for 500 years with nobody doing anything. Somebody they'd tie horses and mules up to one side for hundreds of years, hoping that would help a bit. Nobody did anything. So it's part of what I'm saying is it's all part of the reality script that we notice that always appears to be unnatural. When you look at the script that reality presents, it's always off. Or there's always things that don't add up or don't align with common sense. So let's just, there's always there's a little town and tourists. It just, I don't know, guys. The whole reality appears to be like a facade sometimes to me. Like we're fish in a fish tank. Somebody put the damn plant in, the big fake plant. Some people use like neon plants in different colors, or you could use the real ones that in fake wood, and they put all the plants and scenery all over, and we're the fish, and we swim around the tank, and we think we know everything, and just tell me these people don't just appear like fish in a tank. It's like, did some hand reached in and just, nobody built it. Some hand reached into the fish tank and just put this thing in the gravel, then had to push the catfish aside, put this, and then it leaned over a bit in the gravel, pushed the filter and the heater aside. And it says, well, your tower and your little fish tank, it's like bringing a 10-gallon tank home from Martin's Aquarium in Jenkintown, Abington, 1980. We go down there. It was literally a coupon in the mail, $3 10-gallon tanks. We go down to Martin's Aquarium off York Road in Jenkintown, Abington. If I was really Joe Rogan, how would I know all that? And then you'd buy a tank for $3, but then they'd upsell you and they sell you $40 filters and all that. Anyway. So maybe that's all it is. Somebody reached a hand in, put the damn Leaning Tower of Pizza into the gravel, pushed the catfish aside, and then it shifted a little. It's like, well, I kind of like it shifted. It gives your tank a little panache, a little character. So just leave it that way. These little fish will come and go for hundreds of years and snap their pictures, and they all be impressed because now their cameras 30 megapixel, and they won't know what the hell's going on, those little sons of bitches down there. So I don't know how to describe this, all right? It's just exercises in thinking big. I haven't lost it yet. I'm close, but not yet. I should organize my thoughts if I'm going to go, this strange. But let's just, I haven't really done that, so we'll just have fun with it. And get a selfie. He's taking a selfie. It looks like, he's probably pointing it up at something else. Hey, buddy, over here. That's what you came for. All right. There it is. The statues. It's just a little too, the facade is a little too perfect, a little too unnatural. I'm sorry. Well, Matt, you don't know what the community was really like in 1100, 1200. Yeah, I hear you. Could be completely legitimate. I don't know everything. I don't know. Just get a certain sense. But I do feel very strongly about one thing. All the weird things I'm going to say in this video, let me just emphasize. When Danny said it, I'm like, yeah, that's right. It was meant to be. It was built to be this way. And the entire historical story is bullcrap. But anybody saying what else is new? What else is new? You know, somebody, even when you listen to these walking tours, people are like, well, you can see how, you really can see how the one side goes down. And yeah, it was meant to be that way to attract tourists with us. Yeah, probably. Oh, guarded. Oh, yeah. So guarded by a military vehicle or some sort of Blackwater operation. See that it's like it's trying too hard, don't you think, guys? It's trying to provide a fake legitimacy, in my opinion. See, to the people come, oh, it's so important that it needs to be guarded. Well, it's not important at all, most likely. So if you show guards, then people think it's important. Oh, this must be like the teism people are going to come from all over the world in their caves, and they're going to try to take this thing out. Like, that would be so important. The reality gives itself away. This doesn't need to be guarded. See, it's right in front of where the tower is, these trucks. There might be some police, some security guards, in case some guy comes by like with rollerblades, like Time Cop, and steals some little old lady's purse. Fine, but this is a bullcrap presentation. And when I see this, I know I'm more skeptical of the official stories, if you see what I mean. Look, right at the bottom of the Leaning Tower, guards and machine guns. Come on. You're trying. Reality. You're trying too hard. Give me a break. What a fake presentation, if I've ever seen one. Provides legitimacy and provides more importance to this. If this thing is on its own legitimate and it has nothing to hide, then it is by itself important, and it doesn't need the fake presentation of needing to be guarded, if you see what I mean. No, it doesn't need to be guarded. There's not one threat, one give me a break. This is complete bullcrap. Now, the people that everybody's on the frequency, the people that the guards, they don't know it's a fake. They believe in every bit of what they're doing. That's how the reality works with people on the frequency. So, what's the frequency, Kenneth? Ken is a range of knowledge. A Ken is somebody's breadth or range of total knowledge. I mean, maybe on a topic or in general. What's the frequency? Kenneth, put somebody to the frequency, then what their knowledge then will come from the frequency. Is that what Michael Stipe meant? I don't know. He probably meant that without even meaning to mean it. If you know, he was probably on the frequency and he just wrote it. If you know what I mean. But anyway, it's enough, guys. Enough rambling. Somebody said, yeah, Matt can ramble. He's a rambling man from the Allman Brothers. I thought that was about moving around. I was born a rambling. It doesn't mean talking. Rambling man. Isn't that mean going town to town? Trying to make a living and doing the best I can? Something like that? Doesn't mean what that guy did in The Patriot, go take a soapbox and talk bad about King George. King George took this leg and he takes my other leg with taxes. Rambling's moving around. So, but maybe it is talking. I don't know. See ya. Oh, be back with The Matrix as soon as I get a handle on what the hell's going on with that movie.